Welcome to the Town of Bernardston Select Board meeting for Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. Call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Just a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast live on BNC TV and live streamed on Facebook on the BNC television page. The meeting will be available for later viewing by following the link at thetownofbernardston.org. We'll start with the warrants tonight. I'll entertain a motion for the payroll warrant in the amount of $45,623.09.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion for the vendor warrant in the amount of $52,980.21.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion for the regular meeting minutes of September 21st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Calendar and announcements. There'll be a Public Safety Task Force meeting on Thursday, October 6th, 2022 at 11 a.m. at the Town Hall, and it's also going to be online. Is that a Zoom link?
It is online, Mr. Chairman. The Zoom link is available from the agenda that is on the town website at townofbernardston.org.
Perfect, thank you. There'll also be a Board of Health meeting on Thursday, October 6th, 2022 at 3 o'clock p.m. at the Town Hall. There'll be a Planning Board meeting on Thursday, October 6th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall. It's a busy day. There'll be a Cushman Cushman Library Board of Directors, Monday, October 10th, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the Cushman Library Children's Room. And just a reminder for everybody that the Scarecrow in the Park Festival will be held on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 14th, 15th, and 16th in Cushman Park. Any citizens' concerns tonight not already on the agenda? Not seeing any. We'll move into our appointments tonight, and Mr. Brad Borderwick, the tree warden. Bradley, if you'd like to come up, sir. How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you wanted to speak to us about some trees on Merrifield Road.
Yeah. Is everyone else joining me, or?
We're just going to leave everybody else.
All right. So yeah, we found that, yeah, come on up.
Come on up. We'll make it easier that way. Then everybody can hear you anyway. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So we found that some trees had been cut in preparation of a house lot going in on Merrifield Road, right in that same area that all of those other house lots are going in. And we were just trying to address it the way we have in the past to stay consistent with everything else, and that's why I'm bringing it in front of you folks to see how you want to handle it. This particular situation was slightly different than in the past in that, what's your first name? Eric, sorry.
Sorry.
Eric did come to Town Hall, and there was a little bit of confusion here as far as what he was supposed to do. You want to speak about
Yeah,
that?
no, so I came here before I had a single tree cut down. I came here, told them what I was doing, and I said, do I need to do anything? Do I need to get a permit? I'm clearing for a lot. And they said, are the trees on your land? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're between the pink stakes. They said, no, you're all set. So I told my tree guys, go ahead.
Yep.
And then I got a call from him like a week later. He said, I think you took down some town trees. I said, I didn't know. I came here, I thought we were all set to go. So I said I came here first so I would avoid a call later on, but still got a call.
And
He did his due diligence and just got some wrong information. So,
Yeah.
like Brad said, we trying to be consistent.
Yep.
I mean, we're here just to make sure
Everybody
it's all
gets treated the same
consistent.
way.
But in
That's
this
right.
situation,
He was given some
bad information. So,
Yeah, I thought I was
in my
doing the right
opinion,
No, you did the right thing.
yeah, you did absolutely
did the
right
right thing.
So
It comes back to us too. I know we've talked about it a few times about creating some sort of a flyer to hand out if somebody comes to the town clerk, which we have neglected to do yet. This just drives it home for us even more again. That I keep looking at Lou because Lou will be the creator and the record keeper.
Well, since this incident came to light, Mr. Chairman, Brian and I have sat down and we put a first draft together, so
Great.
It is in motion right now to hopefully prevent something like this from happening again.
Yeah, we've been trying to do like a welcome to Bernardston type thing.
Yeah,
It would have all the contacts
That's what
on
these
it.
guys are telling me, which would be perfect.
Yeah,
is-
it'd be ideal. Do you have any input, Stan, you want to bring up?
No, he did everything he's supposed to
Right,
do, so
yeah.
I don't think there's anything that we should be doing, especially with him.
Right. You-
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, you did the right thing, appreciate it, and thanks for being consistent, so everybody's been treated the same, that's come across the same issue.
Yeah, well, I told
Yeah.
I told these guys, I think it'd be great because I've never built a house before, so
Yep.
I don't really know what what I'm supposed to do. So I'm
Right.
looking for guidance.
Yeah.
as-
So
as-
that's-
before I start the next of any of it, whether
For
it's
sure.
a well or septic or anything. So
That's part of this welcome to Bernardston package.
Yeah.
Part of it is gonna be, if you're here to build a house, here
Yeah.
are your
Yeah.
first few
which
steps.
I think is
It's
fantastic.
just, yeah,
to
it's
get
something
that.
we haven't quite got there, but
Yeah, and that's, we've
Not
talked
gonna
about it
help
for a
you.
while, and bad on us for not getting that done.
we'll. we're
We got
getting
caught up in the middle of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's all good. You're,
So I guess my thought process is if he had come and we'd gone through the process normally, we'd probably ask for some sort of tree donation at whatever. We haven't really come
Right.
to that number yet, so whatever he feels he can do, we would probably ask him to do that. So maybe we stay consistent with that and ask him to donate something that he feels he can afford, and that's what I would suggest anyway.
thoughts?
I would have to disagree with that, only because he did what he was supposed to do and got the wrong information, so he shouldn't be held liable for anything, in my book, in my mind's eye.
He's not being held liable.
Well, you're saying if we're asking him for a donation,
Right.
that's saying like he did something wrong, so you're gonna have to donate some money for a tree or something like that there. I don't think we should do that in this case. If it was the other way around, where he didn't come to the town, I would stand behind you 100% on that, but not in this case.
If all things had been done properly and he had come and spoken to you and you'd looked at the trees and said they were town trees and agreed that they can be taken down, would there still be an ask for a donation at that point?
Correct. That's why
That's
I was
what the-
suggesting it.
We had set up,
And it would be just a stronger conversation and maybe a bigger required donation if he had done the wrong thing or someone else in the future has done the wrong thing.
I mean, I think some of that is gonna be in the future bylaw that has to be
Right.
adopted
Right.
by the town
So we're
meeting.
not there yet
We're not
with the
quite
bylaw.
there yet.
Right.
I think we're caught up. a
that's
little
your
ahead of
point,
that
Stan,
curve.
is that we haven't approved the bylaw?
Well, do I have any what?
That we haven't approved the bylaw
Right.
that would require or request a
And the other part of that is if he would have been, if everything would have been going the right way, he would have been told in the beginning that, yeah, you can take those trees down, but we're gonna ask for a donation for something else.
Right.
But because all this stuff wasn't put in place,
Didn't
and
happen.
he wasn't, so I'm gonna stand by what I said.
Yeah, I mean, I
There's
don't.
no wrongdoing.
Right, right.
So just for your information, we have a tree donation account, and then Brad uses that donation account to plant trees with the school, the elementary school kids or something in the park.
Yeah, which
or
I'd
something.
probably still be fine with
So-
because my kids all went through the school system anyways.
Yeah, so that's just what we're
Yeah.
talking about, is that little donation account that helps.
Yeah.
It's
towards
nothing
some
we
of
could
that
make
stuff.
you do, but
No,
if
right,
you wanted
but
to do it,
It
that's
makes me
fine.
feel better knowing that I'm
Yeah.
doing it because I want to rather than
Right.
because I did something wrong, which
Right.
I
Yeah, he
don't think I
definitely
did.
Correct.
anything
doing
wrong.
it wrong.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
what
you
I
did.
stand.
We're not saying you did.
Yeah, no, I
did,
know,
for
but that's
sure.
what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm much more okay donating when I know it's because I want to rather
Yeah.
than I have to.
Yep, and that's
Right.
truly up to you, and if you do want to do that, you can do that through Lou,
Okay.
and no harm, no
Okay.
foul either way.
All right.
Yeah, don't
Great.
feel.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
feel obligated, but, and in the future, once we get that bylaw passed, it'll be
Yeah.
different.
What's the timing on that?
Has to go through town meeting.
Oh.
Town meeting vote.
Annual town meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
so hopefully the May, unless we have a special between now and May.
So cut down all the trees you
Yeah.
can before town meeting.
The other thing is to say is that I'm glad we got Brad around because he's staying on top of
Absolutely.
what's going on around town, and I really appreciate that because at least we got eyes looking at things.
Yeah, you and Brian work well together doing that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I've been here for 40 years of my life. I didn't even know we had a tree warden.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know if I needed a permit or something, but I didn't.
Yeah, no, you did the right thing to come in and ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where this packet, once we get it done, will
Yep.
put it all to bed.
Yeah, like Luke said, we have a first draft. We're
Yep,
just
that's great. Appreciate
need
that.
some more eyes on it.
Okay.
All right, we're good if you're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck with the house.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, do you have anything else you want to bring up about anything else?
I gave you I gave him a donation from the first folks we met
Okay.
with on Merrifield, so
Yep.
that situation has been remedied.
Good, great.
Great.
Have we gotten the one from the solar folks yet? No. Okay.
No, the solar folks, for a variety of reasons, are hard to track down.
100%.
You're still having troubles with the apron?
I can't get a hold of anybody. I've called the project manager multiple times, emailed, nobody will return phone calls. And
Park one of your trucks in front of the road.
Can we have Donna write a letter to the company?
Sure. Yep.
I mean, my feeling
Wake
is
somebody up a little bit?
they are 6 months or just a little bit more than 6 months past their deadline to have it finished.
Right, we're coming on the season where they're not gonna be able to do it.
In another month, they're not gonna have asphalt to finish it. So
The trouble's gonna be if it starts breaking off the town road from
it already
from
has.
that, then he's stuck with it.
Yeah, it already has started. So we don't get this done here soon. But like I said, I can't get anybody to call me back.
Is everybody
I can't-
okay with Donna trying to write a letter to them?
Yep.
To see if it
Yeah.
comes, in town council's letterhead, maybe somebody will
So,
return a phone call? I mean, I know you've been trying for a while. I forgot about yours, to be honest with you.
yeah. I even reached out to the contractor doing the work, and I can't. Nobody wants to even have a conversation.
They still doing work up there?
No. The only thing they have left is they have to replace that bridge in there with a permanent structure. And after that, you're not gonna see anybody in
Weren't they
there.
supposed to put a retention pond in there someplace for collecting water?
I don't know the answer to
I
that.
don't remember the restrictions, yeah. I think there was some talk of that before they shrunk the project down a little bit. Because it was originally gonna take more acreage than they did
Correct.
in the end, correct?
But my understanding is Conservation Commission said they have to replace the bridge.
Yeah. So the bridge they have was designed to put those giant batteries across it that are weigh a lot. So now they're gonna put in a more permanent structure that's not rated for as much weight, basically.
Where does the tree donation money go?
It's one of the special revenue accounts.
Okay, where he has access to?
Yeah, I used it to plant all those trees this spring with the kids.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're gonna bring up since you're next on the agenda that he may have some input on?
The only thing that Brad and I discussed that probably comes together here is just giving you guys kind of an update on our chipper. We're
Okay.
starting to have problems with it, and well, as you know, because you have the same one,
Yep.
we can't find parts.
Yep.
Nobody supports.
We're in the same boat.
Nobody supports it anymore. Aftermarket parts just don't fit. I mean, right now, one of the main roller bearings is pretty close to being done, and we're just having issues finding parts.
So is it something that during budget season coming up, you guys can kinda, I mean,
Yes.
whether it flies or not?
That's our plan. We're just giving you a heads up,
Yeah, okay.
essentially, is we're gonna start coming into issues, and I ran some numbers in terms of if we didn't buy one, how much it would cost to rent for as much as we do, and it'd be somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 a year to rent one for as much as we use it, so I don't really think that's feasible.
And a new one would be ballpark or what? Refresh my memory, I know we talked.
So
about
we're
that.
looking at a used, no different than the trucks. We're trying to go
Yep.
a little bit used to get away from the emission stuff and all that. And what was it, 40,
I think it was 50.
50?
It was like 40.
Whatever that one is I sent you. There's a couple dealers on the East Coast that it's what they do. They just sell massive amounts of used chippers. So I looked into a few different ones of them just because they have a wide variety of different ones and prices and stuff, and that's pretty much where we're at, is 50-ish
Okay.
versus a brand new one that would be about 120 to 140.
Yeah, it's crazy what everything is now.
So, but we
You
need
can
to
get
come
them
up to some of the safety standards. We need to get new enough to get some of the appropriate safety
Yep.
stuff on one. Ours currently doesn't have.
And be something we can count on.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But just a little upgrade
Okay.
Where's the chipper stored now?
at my garage.
And they both use it. I mean, Brian uses it from time to time, Brad uses it from time to time.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of our work
Yeah.
we do together anyway,
Yeah.
so it's rare that we're not both part of something.
Right. Okay, I think, Brian, you have a whole list for us.
Oh, I got lots of stuff.
I got a couple
Go
of
ahead.
things with Brad, if I could, on the park. That pine tree that's next to the monument.
Okay.
You know, you got two of them. One the fire department decorates or the Kiwanis decorate. Then on the other side of that, there's another one that matches.
Yeah.
Okay, this other one, can you take it down?
Can I take it down?
Yes.
Physically, yeah, we could take it down, but that probably needs to go through some other folks before I do it.
We got the okay from the Kiwanis.
Okay.
Take it down. They said, go, get rid of it.
What about that Cushman Park committee?
They're all set with it too.
All
I
right.
met with them.
Does it have to go through a tree hearing though?
What's that?
Does it have to go through a tree hearing?
It may have to
For
go
being
through
a
a tree
public
hearing. I
tree.
will.
For what reason?
It's on town land.
It's a
Yeah.
town tree,
Public, yeah.
so unless it's a safety hazard, usually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, usually there's some
No,
sort
you're
of
right.
tree hearing involved with them.
Yeah, but if that's something you want to pursue, I can do the tree hearing thing and.
Yep. Yeah, it's blocking the monument anyways, come going this way. It's blocking the monument, so we want to open that up. And then the other one is the magnolia tree.
Yeah.
Okay, we'd like to have that removed and another one planted, say like 8 feet further away or 6 feet further away to give us some room.
Okay.
Now, we'd have to know the cost of, what it would cost to replace that magnolia tree.
Okay.
So you'd have to give us that, because perhaps the Cushman Park Committee would donate the money to replace that.
When you say 8 feet away, Stan, is it closer to Lucy's or?
Closer to Lucy's.
Yeah.
You planted one, I think, this spring over in that area, right?
We
for
did. It
Bud
was
Foster.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and this is, I understand, this was donated in the memory of Bud Foster's grandfather.
Okay.
So we want to put another one there and maybe get a marker like you have for Bud Foster's on this side, that'd match it.
So the one we're taking down was planted in memory of someone?
Yes.
Bud Foster?
Yep.
Did you reach out?
Brandon Grover has reached out to the family.
Yep. And the
I haven't
family's
heard
all-
the outcome, but I know he was reaching out to them.
they're all set. They just want to be aware or notified when the replant is going to be, that's all.
So do you want that replanting to be one of these things we do with the school kids? Any reason not to?
You can,
All right.
Probably a good idea, really.
So a spring thing.
Be a
yeah.
appropriate
If you
size tree to
could,
plant down.
between now and, you don't have to take the whole tree down right now, but if you could take those, you see it, it's got a V in it, the branches that go off towards the monument like this, if you could just whack those off.
This is stuff that goes to the flagpole.
Yeah, just take them right off at the tree trunk, and then next spring we'll look at replacing the tree.
And if you need a hearing, you can do that one at the same time.
Yep, same thing. Yep, okay. Was that it?
Yeah, that'd be great, and grinding the stumps, so that,
Is there
You
money from Cushman Park to grind the stumps too? Or?
yeah. Because we're looking at now, we're trying to get quotes for some granite benches or to go instead of the regular benches that we were gonna put in. Kiwanis suggested that we look at the price of some granite benches, and Marvin Shedd is in the process of following up with that and getting that going. But Marvin had a meeting, he had a meeting with the Kiwanis and with the Cushman Park Committee, and they're all in favor of what we're doing. So,
All right.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Today I received an email from another town clerk that there's a grant available for Veterans Memorial.
yeah, we've got that. We're
You got
looking-
that already?
yeah, we're looking, yeah. So,
Last question for Bradley. The trimming of the library trees, bushes, that happened. Was that something that you did or
No, it hasn't.
somebody did
No,
it?
it wasn't me.
Brandon did it, the
Oh,
library,
he did it himself, okay.
correct?
Yeah, that Jim Palmieri had reached out
Yep.
because he also found out about the safety concerns that had been voiced. He went out there, he contacted Brandon directly, and I think it was this past Saturday, seemed like they had a work bee over there.
Okay.
And they got all that work taken care of.
I haven't checked it out yet, but you might want to swing through there just to see.
Just to make
if
sure you
it's
cut
what
it
he thought
back far
would be.
enough?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we may do more.
Before, I don't know if you saw, it was just
Yeah.
pushing stuff
Oh, yeah.
out, and that stop sign is completely covered
Yeah,
over.
for sure.
So,
Yeah.
It's
Definitely
still
had to be done.
not that, the stop sign is still not that visible as you come down Library Street toward Church Street.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ken.
Okay.
my
We may
opinion
have to do
is at
something.
some
Might be
point
more.
it'd be best just to completely start over
Yeah,
with something that's not going to quite be as big and intrusive later on.
yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that at some point.
Is Brandon the right person to talk to about that?
Yes.
He's the president of the board over there now,
Okay.
so if you have good contact with him, for sure.
Okay.
They might be more open if they understand that being replaced or something like
That's
that.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, another spring planting kind
Yeah,
of
they
thing.
definitely
Yeah.
will be.
Close for them to
Yeah.
walk with the kids.
Yeah, that's true.
And it sounded like the email we did receive from Casey, the conservation agent, on the pond was pretty positive as
Yes.
far as I'm concerned, is that pond is, we could pretty much do, from what I gather, anything we want to do around it. So if we want to take and clean that up,
I definitely do.
Yeah.
And like the brushy stuff right by the exit culvert, the overflow, I'd like to get rid of that. So as you're driving down the road, you can actually see in there. And I can then mow around there a lot better too. Get rid of a lot of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, then we can use the
Overgrown.
pond again.
Right. Yep.
That's not a this year item though for you.
We have to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, we have to wait until Cassie makes the next step. She was looking into something.
Yeah,
before we
she
quite
wanted
went
she
that
wanted
far.
to make 100% certain. She was like 95%
Right.
sure that we were good to go. So she just wants to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's dotted before
Good,
she
good.
gives us
Keeps
the
us out of
final
trouble.
approval.
It
Yeah,
does seem all
exactly.
positive though, you're right. It was a positive email.
Yeah, it sure
100%.
was.
Even on the ditch and
Yeah.
Cushman Park as well.
Yes, that
is
was
all
the other
good.
project.
Yeah.
The wrap
and
on.
then doing that bundle, I think that's
I
a
think that's definitely the way.
smart thing to work on. And if we have to get some help to do that, I think we should do that, because then we're covered.
Yep.
And we don't have to jump through these hoops every time we have to have something done.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yep, we should do that,
Okay.
for sure. Go ahead.
That the magnolia, do you want the exact same thing that we planted on the other side?
If you can match it, would be good.
All right.
Okay. My thought about moving it further towards Lucy's is so when it grows up, we won't have the problem with the flag and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's all I'm looking at.
Cool.
We could put it about as far away as the other one is.
Yeah.
Kind of mirror each side.
Yeah. I like it.
And our plan with the reworking of that stream through there, we'll get rid of all the little brushy stuff and kind of give it some more sunlight and stuff in there. So we'll have a better chance.
That works.
Yeah, it should,
Okay.
once we get the stuff with Cassie straightened out, that
Yeah.
stream bed should be,
That's
Night and day
definitely a
from where it
next
is
year
now.
project.
and it'll make that whole area around the monument look 100% better.
Yeah.
Is anything happening with all those rhododendrons?
The Kiwanis is working on that. They're coming up with a plan of what they're gonna do with all that and whatnot. I know they were gonna reach out for Ed Snow, but he's laid up right now, so we'll have to wait for his recovery and go from there.
So it is in the works. They do want to do something there too, to
Yeah.
knowing what we were trying to do everywhere else,
Yeah. Okay.
to help along with that same process,
Cool.
which would be good.
Yeah.
When we were there, you had mentioned the possibility of putting in like a little footbridge across that end up there. So I talked to the steel shed about very approximate numbers. So he said it would be about $10,000 to build a bridge that we could remove, because you can't can't be a permanent structure. We'd have to be able to take it on and off.
Right, I'm thinking that by putting it down there closer to the, where it comes out, it's not gonna be susceptible to a flood, like if you put it further down.
Right, and my thought is we'd also pull it for the winter time.
Right.
So it wouldn't be out there when you have your big, spring runoff and stuff anyways. But like I said, there's just very ballpark numbers of about 10,000 for that bridge.
Okay.
So it'd have handrails, it'd be mounted. And,
I think that's,
done right.
the grant that, I don't know if you forwarded it to us, somebody forwarded that grant to us. The one you were talking about from the town clerk for,
The one that I just mentioned, or?
yes,
For
yes,
the veterans? Those
Yes.
For veterans memorials, but there's also,
Yeah.
once we get the OSRP done and updated, there's grant money for improving the parks.
yeah. But this one, it's gonna match, they'll match up to $15,000.
No, that's the same one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on where you guys want to go with it.
Yeah, we won't pay for maintenance, but it'll pay for, the way I read it real quick, and I gotta go back through it, it'll pay for, putting like new stuff in and, improving the memorial in the park, and that's a way for people to come over, so it can tie in and
Yep,
look at it. So.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Brad, thank you.
All set with
Everybody
me?
good with Brad? Thank you, sir.
No problem. Have a good night.
You as well. Okay, Brian, you're up. Do I need more scratch paper or something?
I don't know. Let's.
2 pages.
Oh, I got lots of stuff for you. Transfer station. So Jan has brought it to our attention that we need magnetic interlock door switches on our compactors, which means it's a fail-safe to make sure the doors are closed and locked while the RAM is running. So somebody can't crawl in there while somebody's running the RAM back and forth. So with that, she says we need 4 sets of them because there's 2 doors on each compactor. But the back doors have been welded shut, so my opinion is we only need 2. And the new one will come with whatever. She gave us a quote of $584 a set, meaning basically each compactor.
So the new compactor will come with those doors? So we'd only have to do one?
No, so we're replacing only 1 trash, so we still have to do paper and
Oh,
trash.
I have paper too.
The gentleman from Atlantic who is installing the new compactor says that there is a push button style that covers all of the rules and everything and doesn't need this interlock system, and it's a lot cheaper. But Jan says no and he says yes, and we're still trying to figure out what.
And she's saying it because it's going to be an OSHA requirement?
Yeah.
Okay, she understands OSHA only covers the employees, doesn't cover the public.
I have tried my best.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it, but I would disagree with what she's saying because if we're trying to keep the public from going in there,
Right.
OSHA doesn't cover that.
Right. And I've had that conversation, but
OSHA covers the guys working there, I get it.
correct.
And if
But
the push button
they
covers
have-
that and it's cheaper,
So the push button is a push and hold. So you have to physically hold it for that RAM to go. The minute you take it off, it stops. And the next action when you push it is actually to come back.
okay.
So you can't, accidentally hit its return and then you have to start over and go through. So he says that covers it. But like I said, Jan says no, and I don't know.
Can you ask her for something in writing that states that it must be that? If she's that adamant about it, she must have a document from
I can ask.
the federal or state OSHA
Yep.
that says that's what it has to be.
Yeah, I'll ask.
I mean, I find it hard to believe the people that make the compactors that put these everywhere, they're complying by the same rules.
Yeah, he puts hundreds of them in New England every year, and he says that this is fine. but
Yeah,
I haven't personally read all the rules and
Right.
regulations to know
good luck if you can.
exactly.
Yeah, if she has a document, that'd be great.
Yep.
I mean, I do deal with OSHA quite a lot in my real world life. Fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah. So I will get that. Along with that, she has told us that we need a guardrail on our ramp over there, which I mentioned when we did the inspection.
Walk
Right,
around,
yeah.
Yep.
So the only other town that's part of the solid waste district that has a similar setup to us is Montague. So I talked to the guys in Montague about what their solution was and stuff like that. So their solution that they've priced out for an actual guardrail and pedestrian railing thing was going to be between $15,000 and $20,000. Their ramp is a little bit longer, but not that much. So Jan came back and showed me a quote that she got of some, like to call it like modular railing, but it's only 20 something inches high and doesn't account for the 42-inch railing you're supposed to have for pedestrians. So to me, it's not worth putting two things up to accomplish the same thing. So that's where we are with that.
Now, you had a thought the day we were walking around of reconfiguring that area to lower it.
So I'd like to get rid of the ramp. So the two containers there right now are on concrete pads. We turn those into like little dumping stations, one for bulky, one for metal. And then after people put their stuff in there the next week when we go to crush dumpsters anyways, we'll take the loader, just scoop it out, put it in the appropriate dumpster. The only thing with that is we're going to end up turning the two current dumpsters perpendicular to the road, and ideally those should be on concrete pads. So there's a cost with that. So the last concrete pad that we had poured was like, by all said and done, was around $3,800.
Cheaper than a $20,000 to $30,000 handrail.
And we never have to deal with it.
And folks
Because
would unload it on ground level then.
unload it on ground level, we wouldn't have to deal with plowing it, shoveling around it. There would be no issues there.
And you still have the same thought process with the trailer for electronics of removing.
Lowering that to ground level. That way everything's down, nobody's on anything elevated. There's never, because even with a railing or guardrail, if somebody runs into it, there's going to be maintenance of some sort, you know, and I could just picture it being a money suck for
Right.
the department trying to keep up with maintaining it
So in an ideal world, when would you want to do that work?
in the spring.
Okay.
And she's okay with that?
She told me that that would be fine because we're working towards the
Solution.
goal. The interlock thing, it seems like she wants a little quicker, but
It sounds to me like if it's a push button thing and that does work, that could happen fairly quickly.
so the company that's doing our new compactor said they could do it while they're
Same
here
time.
because that's what they put in anyways.
Do we have an idea when that might be coming?
The week after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so we got a couple weeks to figure out what she can provide us for a document.
Yeah. So I will reach out and ask for the documentation about the magnetic interlock.
She has something in writing that says this has to be done. This has to be done by when?
She doesn't have any of that. This is just her coming to me saying you need
No,
this
she
stuff.
shows us something in writing and gives us, and every time there's a change in the law or there's a change in the rule, they give you a time frame that this has to be. So we want to see both of those things.
And I can respectfully remind the board that both Jan and Taylor Millspaw from CMRK will be at our next meeting on October 19th.
Perfect.
They wanted to talk about the textiles when they were here last month. So October 19th, they'll be here. So certainly any of the questions that are Jan relevant.
Well, I'm just getting a little confused. Is that our transfer station or is that Jan Amin's transfer station?
Stan, you're preaching to the choir.
No, I'm just,
It's-
I'm
it-
really
it's-
right. I'm just trying, because no, we'll
No, I
follow the
agree.
rules, and we'll follow whatever the
Right.
law says that we have to do, but they gotta give us time, and they just can't say, this is it, and that's the way it's gonna be. You gotta have something in writing.
I mean, this interlock document, if there is a document, I mean, this was something the state or the feds rolled out, and I get it, they do it for safety. But she should have been able to provide that document to everybody within the district at the same time. And as Stan said, hey, you got 18 months to implement it, or whatever the figure is. And this is what you have to do.
We also get inspected by DEP,
And then
and
you,
this has never come up.
right.
Okay, so you're gonna work on changing that around anyways. So that's
The
gonna.
ramp,
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it unless we had to, because it's gonna cost money.
you wouldn't, you're not gonna change you said you wanted to change things.
If we have to put up
Okay.
this guardrail system,
Okay.
that's when I would do it. But unless we come to the point where we have to do this now, I wouldn't spend the $8,000 to $9,000 to do it. Because what we have works. So unless it's a safety issue that we have to do it.
And this is all preventing somebody from falling into it. So
Or
why don't we just raise the containers up so they have
That's essentially what we're doing, but instead of raising the containers, we're taking the ramp down.
yeah, but I'm saying you can do it either way. You can just raise the containers up and then you have your guardrail.
Yeah.
Be
It's
easier.
essentially what we're doing. The only problem with raising the height of the containers is people can't get it over. So we're
They
automatically.
gotta get it over the railing.
Well, right, and that's why doing what we're doing will,
Make a lot of
Right,
sense.
so
Take care of
all I'm
this.
saying is if you gotta have a railing that's 42 inches high, so people can't fall in, if you have the thing up 42 inches high, they still gonna have to, they're not gonna have to lift it any higher because that's the height of the rail. And that would be.
But if it's on the ground level, they can just roll it out of the back of their car or truck.
Yep,
right, which they can't really do once.
okay.
Yep. Okay, so we'll get that sooner or later, or we'll ask her on the 19th.
Yeah. Mattress container update since the last time she was here. So when she was here with us before, Jan said that we're gonna purchase the container. It's gonna live at the transfer station. They're gonna come clean it out, do their thing there. Since then, it's changed into, we bought a container. It'll be filled. They will truck the container, but we're liable to never see that container again because they're gonna replace it with something else each time they come. And our container that's owned by the town of Bernardston is now anywhere. And it also changes everything in terms of the layout because this company that's picking them up and changing them is requiring about a 30-foot wide and 40-foot deep pad to set them on because they don't want to pull one out, set the new one in, and then pick this one up and go again. They want to put one down, pick this one up, and then leave. So it's turned into a...
And I remember her saying quite clearly that pads could not be part of the grant.
Correct. Yep, but there again, this has all changed since the last time she was here because we were supposed to own that container and it was never supposed to leave.
Yep.
We were gonna put a little ramp up to the front so it wasn't a tripping thing going in and out, and now it's a lot different.
So have they been to a site visit to the transfer station, or this is what the gentleman's telling you?
So when he dropped off that container,
So
he
there's
told
one
us,
there now.
yes,
Okay.
it's there, getting ready for November 1st. This is what he told us his requirements were. So then going to Jan, because I didn't know he was moving the container again. I thought it was just going to be
So she said.
there, exactly. So I talked to Jan, and then she talked to him, and then she came back and said, oh yeah, it's going to be moved, it's going to be taken. You're liable to never see your container again. You're going to have to provide this area for the truck driver and all this stuff.
I'll tell her to come get her trailer then.
It's just frustrating on my end because it
Yeah.
keeps changing. And
There's
I don't
space
have
you
the
don't
room.
really have.
I don't have the room
You need
for
that
all
much
this.
room.
And personally, I don't think he needs that because Waste Management moves dumpsters and they go pull one out, put one in, and you're done. So in order to do that, the guy wants to charge us an extra $50 to actually set it where, in place of the other one. He wants to give us a surcharge for spending extra time there, which isn't part of the contract that we signed for the,
And how many times would he be coming?
figure like 4 times a year-ish,
$200 bucks?
couple $100 bucks.
Pay the $200 and
So
But either way, you gotta pour some kind of a pad.
he wants a pad to put it on,
Yeah.
so it doesn't freeze to the ground.
But you wouldn't have to make it as wide as what they want. Unless you're gonna have to have another container for something else. So if you're gonna make a pad, you're gonna make one, so when this other, something else comes up, you got a place to put another.
We could, I mean, I have no idea what's coming next. Seems like we've gotten a lot of extra dumpsters over there in the last year.
Yeah, I get dumpster crazy.
Yeah.
So how much did this dumpster cost us?
5,800.
5,800.
5,800.
That was supposedly paid by that grant. I've not been invoiced for it, so the bill is unpaid at this point. I'm sure at some point somebody's going to be looking for that money.
So we're not actually gonna, supposedly we're not actually gonna pay for it. The grant-
Right, it's that grant. That
So-
grant that she got was $10,000, but to Brian's point, the story changed significantly because when she was here, it didn't matter if it was on gravel, dirt, or whatever, but now if this recycler wants to change these containers out and he's demanding a pad, it seems patently unfair to the town that we need to incur the cost of pouring a pad over there. And then one step further, I know we pay hauling on everything else. Is this guy gonna hit us with a hauling charge?
And that's my concern, because just the extra for moving the container, because we have a contracted hauling price with him, and now it's already changing because he doesn't want to do something, and it just,
Well, Jan's coming on the 19th, right?
Yes, sir.
I'd say we stand pat as it is till the 19th and have that particular point be an agenda item with them. So I'm personally not real happy with the changes in that. I mean, we asked her that, and she was pretty clear that they couldn't get money out of the grant for the pad, and you didn't need one.
and it wasn't ever going to move. It was
Just
gonna
staying
stay
there
right
forever. They're gonna
Yeah.
come unload that container. And if we're gonna incur, I realize it's a convenience for the residents of Bernardston to have it in Bernardston, but we didn't have to take this container. I mean, it could have gone to, pick Northfield, I don't know, pick somewhere else, Irving.
I mean, I like the idea of doing it. It's
Right.
just the rules have now changed.
Right, and now it's gonna cost you $50 more if
Okay.
we have a smaller pad to.
Let's put it on the
Yeah,
agenda
we have
for,
to talk to them more about that, I think.
that's November 19th?
October.
October.
2 weeks from tonight, Stan.
Okay, what other good news you got for us?
All right. Highway garage.
Did you make us money somewhere?
Not yet. Saving you money. Let's put it that way. Saving money. This is more a question for you and Chris. Is plywood for Jeff Gale for that section of the garage? Are we?
Personally, I think we can hold a vote on that. That's my feel. Stan, we did have a conversation about it at the last meeting. We still do have Jeff Gale's proposal for the plywood at the highway garage, which has to be done before we could do any insulating. So it's really two separate things. I know we did get some quotes through Energy Resources for
That
plywood.
was the first one.
Right. Jeff Gale's is quite a bit cheaper in
Yes.
cost. Jeff's estimating the cost of material for the town of Bernardston to pick it up, so we don't have to pay the sales tax. $3,695, and he's looking at another $5,780 for labor to install it, which we talked about in our last meeting. You gentlemen have any input on whether we can give Jeff Gale the okay to do that piece of it, which is gonna have to be done regardless of who insulates it.
Yeah, in order to have the insulation done by
Right.
any company that we decide on.
So the sooner we could get this done, if we do decide on an insulator in the next couple weeks, then as soon as they could go, this would be done.
Okay,
You're happy with that?
I thought we were
I
waiting.
think it's a great idea having Jeff do it.
I thought we were waiting for you to give us some information on if somebody else was going to be able to bid on this and give us a better cost.
They did give us a price on that, and it's more money than Jeff gave.
That's the original one. Right?
No, we got a second one from, what's
They
that?
didn't include, that quote didn't include any of the,
Okay,
plywood.
I make a motion to purchase 1/2 inch plywood for the price of $3,695 and hire Jeff Gale for the price of $5,780 to install it in the highway garage so we can insulate this.
Second.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's that one. I know you have more.
I have one. It's more of a question for you, I guess. Where are we with insulation and getting this moving forward?
we got a quote yesterday, or a couple days ago, actually.
Monday.
On Monday,
Yep.
for our green committee meeting, and we still have some more questions. So Mark Provencher was gonna answer those questions and, give us more detail, like what bays, because you were questioning which bays.
Right, he gave us
the work
total.
was in, and,
Right.
but I think that they look good, as that proposal looked good, it was 22,000. The incentive, he just got a rough estimate from Eversource of what the incentive was gonna be, and it was actually a couple $1,000s more than what the original plan is. So the thing is, we need to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. What we submitted to DOER is what DOER is gonna be looking for a quote, or for the specs. And so, AEG, actually, some of their R values are better than the original quote
Right.
from Energy Resources. So that's why the incentive is more. And so what we would be looking at right now, just a rough estimate, we'd be looking at having to still pay close to $5,000 for the work. But that's a lot better than the over 10 grand that we
Right.
were gonna have to do before,
And when
so.
Chris says that DOE is looking for the same, they're looking for the same R value or better than what they approved. If somebody's bidding a lower R value, they'll never let us go to a different vendor.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In their case, they were going to a much higher R value, I forget the numbers right now.
Yeah, almost 60 was one.
Especially-
R60 in the ceiling.
Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
49,
Right.
which is probably.
Now, did the Hobbs estimate not meet those?
It wasn't clear enough to know exactly what he was doing.
Right, and the
Okay.
best R value we had was 49.
For the
Right.
ceiling?
Which is what
Yeah.
DOER approved, was a
Right.
49.
Right, but everything else, he didn't really have a breakdown of, to compare to
Exactly what
was already
areas,
approved by DOER.
for the areas he was gonna do.
Okay.
I don't know if you can get that in quick order from him or not.
I,
It's basically the verbiage that's in those other quotes,
right.
insulating a 2x4 framed wall with this to this
Yeah,
R
so
value.
he had the R value for the wall and he had the R value for the ceiling.
Right,
Because all we asked his quote for was for that one bay. He doesn't have anything else for the rest of it because he wasn't asked for that. Because that's part of my concern is right now I have insulation everywhere else. This
Yep.
one bay, we're coming into cold weather and I have no insulation
Yep.
in this one bay. So my current push is to get this part done, whether the rest of it gets done right now. or
right. I
not.
think the Green Committee the other night, once we get those other answers from AEG, they've scheduled a meeting for the 17th of October
Okay,
to make a decision that night to bring it to this board on the 19th
okay.
to say, we'd like to issue a contract or not issue a contract, whatever the board decides.
Yep.
Well, it has to be submitted to DOER and approved first, too.
True.
They have to approve whatever we're replacing the original with.
Right.
And
That's
we
true. I
also
forgot
have to
about
get
that.
the incentive, so, which I don't think that'll take that long, Matt. responded to Mark
That
for
quick.
winter that quick.
And I think DOER is gonna turn it around pretty quick too.
I think as long as we're comparing apples to apples, or it's better than what we originally submitted, I think it'll fly, so.
Okay, what else?
That was basically it.
Anybody have anything else to bring up? We do have one more for Brian on another item afterwards. Let's go right to that while Brian's here, unless you have
Any
more.
engineer update on the doors?
We are jumping ahead to the town coordinator's report, but just before the meeting started, I heard from Carlo Schneller, and bear with me one second. He says he's received the signed proposals, which after our discussion, Stan, I had approved the proposal for both the highway garage door widening project and for the town hall. Carlos said he would like to schedule a site visit for both projects on either the 17th or the 18th of October in the morning. At this site visit, Dan Chapman, who is one of his peers, will be performing the investigation of the town garage for the door opening enlargement, and I will perform the investigation of the town hall settlement issues. So it becomes a choice then of really what's best for you, 17th or the 18th, it's a Monday or a Tuesday.
Doesn't matter.
And
You'll be here either of those days too?
I'll certainly be here, so,
Okay, go with it.
Yeah.
all right,
Get it
so,
done.
yeah, we will, I will ask him to come on Monday the 17th.
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah, just let me know what time. And
I
I'll
will.
plan on being there.
Okay, I'm gonna jump ahead in the agenda a little bit just to save Brian some time.
Yep.
If everybody's okay with that. We're
Sure.
gonna move ahead to old business. The first item, the trail renovation project at Pioneer. We did discuss it at our last meeting. Brian Miner has some more information. He's talked to Cooper directly.
Yep.
Do you wanna just give us a heads up of what you talked about and what you're thinking?
So we spoke today for a little while about, a lot of it was the quantity of material he's asking for and the logistics that entails on getting it to Pioneer. He was gonna do some homework and kind of figure that out. He did say that he'd be happy with a little bit of material now for some work B that's gonna happen in 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe finishing the project in the spring. We don't have anywhere near enough material at the transfer station for what he needs. I don't think any of the other towns have it readily available, so I gave him some places to check and people to call to try to locate some more. But one of my biggest concerns is I don't want to be stuck hauling all the material.
Right, and I know you and I have talked about it before, and I'm with you. I think if we could offer a couple loads out of the transfer station, great. Residents in this community do use those chips a lot on Thursdays and Saturdays. I would not want to see you, unless you have a different feel than I do or these two gentlemen do, heading to Leiden to haul chips from Leiden over to Pioneer or to Warwick to haul chips if their towns can't support that. This is a bad time of year for you to be sucking up hours doing that with winter coming.
Correct.
Not that the spring would be any better, because then there's just different projects. But I don't know how you guys feel, because I think part of the ask was if you could go to other places and truck them for them too.
Right. And my feeling with that especially is it should be all or nothing. If all 4 towns are going to participate, that's
Right.
one thing versus just myself or me and Tommy or something like that doing all the work.
What do you guys feel about Brian
agree
going to other
completely.
towns?
I think I stated it the last time we talked about this. It's up to Brian.
Yep.
And he knows what his job is. He knows what work he's got to get done. And I agree with what he said earlier, that he cannot use all the chips over there because people in town are expecting to be able to go over there and get them. So whatever he can do, whatever he can work out is fine with me.
I agree with that. I mean,
I also spoke to Cooper about the impact on where we're dumping them. And I think that was eye-opening because you're putting trucks, I mean, we weigh a lot when we come into someplace.
We're getting rain
So,
again.
Yeah, you're talking an 80,000 pound truck coming on the grass. It doesn't look good afterwards. So unless we're dumping on asphalt, which they don't have room for, there's going to be a significant impact to where we dump it. So, and I don't want to be responsible for that.
Right. You good with letting Brian make the call if he can bring him a load or two or not? And
Let's stop it at 2.
next, it is a busy pile when the transfer
Oh,
station's
yeah.
open.
I've
really
used it.
is.
Hey.
It takes a lot of work for us to keep it full.
Yeah.
So I have talked to Gretchen about a couple things, so I was also gonna pick her brain a little bit and see what she thinks about the dump site and our impact on it and stuff. I think
Okay.
she's gonna be left with it eventually,
Right.
whatever the outcome
Whatever
is.
damages, right.
Right. So I don't want her to be taken off guard either.
So you good with that? You fair
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah.
Anything else you have to bring up tonight?
I think we talked about it before, but we're still good with borrowing the lift for Jeff from the school for that project, right?
I'm good with that. I'm sure
Okay.
Gretchen's gonna be in.
No, she is. I just wanted to make sure everybody was
Yep.
on the same page.
How does it get over there?
I move it anyways for him.
Oh, okay.
He moves it for the school
Okay.
currently. Yep.
That was kind
It's
of
not
the
easy to
trade-off
move.
is we move it back and forth to the elementary school and stuff for them, and this is kind of a repayment of a favor
Good.
type of deal.
That'd be great, yeah.
I'll
Perfect.
say the estimate was based on using that lift, so that's part of it.
Should he be here for this fuel thing?
Oh, yeah, you probably should be here for the fuel conversation too. That's an excellent
I love
catch,
it.
Stanton. So we also have under new business, centralized fuel purchase for the town. The last meeting, Stan had brought up the fact of potentially reaching out to Sandry about installing gasoline at the highway garage for town vehicles, which would be used by not just the highway, but all municipal entities. Between Lou and Brian, they've reached out to Sandry and they did get some information back. Do you want to speak to it better, Lou, or Brian? I don't know which one is best, or both.
I haven't seen.
Okay, so I guess that's Lou.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
That's okay. That's okay. No rehearsal here.
There you go.
We met with Bill Kuzmeski from Sandry last week, and Bill is the commercial fuels sales manager. We explored a variety of options, trying to get the best price possible for the town. And this included the installation of a gasoline tank over at the highway garage. Brian had mentioned that due to the age of the current diesel tank, that it might be feasible to replace that. We also talked about an identification system so that whether it be each driver or each vehicle had a specific ID to use these fuel dispensers. We also looked at our annual fuel usage here, and between diesel fuel, gasoline, heating oil, and propane, came into a gross total of roughly 20,000 gallons. And Bill seemed to think that that information will be helpful as far as trying to factor as good a price for the town as possible. At 2:44 this afternoon, he and I went back and forth for a little while because, as you can see on page 2 of that handout, he's got a few tech terms in there between heating oil fixed price and prepaid, Springfield low rack price plus, and there's 10-day terms, 30-day terms. I really wanted to cut to the chase, so when we had this discussion tonight, I got back to him and I said that based on our deal with the collaborative, with prices as of 1/16 this afternoon, we would be paying $3.75.44 per gallon for heating oil, using that as the discussion point. Again, more of the email thread. And bottom line, at 1/16 this afternoon, based on their pricing, we would be at $4.20.50 a gallon. So that's roughly 45 cents higher a gallon on heating oil.
From Sandry.
From Sandry. And again, that's just what the conversation started from last week, and I thought Stan made a great point to see if we can do business locally. And just based on that heating oil, Bill also included if we had committed to a fixed price and prepaid, we'd be in at $4.049 a gallon. So still more than the collaborative, but with what goes on in the world, who knows? So all in all, you've got the proposal there, or it's not a formal proposal, but the pricing that he gave us for propane, fixed price and prepaid would be $259.9. Gas and diesel, 22 cents over the Sandry rack price. And again, his rack price is from published daily in Opus, an acronym for Oil Price Information Service. So I've not had a chance to really get under the hood with a lot of this stuff, but using the heating oil as the conversation point, we'd be paying a little more to do business locally right now.
Yeah, and this just came out today, so none of us have had a chance,
Right.
including Brian, to really.
Well, there's not,
Like
the information here wouldn't give me the opportunity to say yay or nay on anything. $22 over Sandry's rack price for gas and diesel, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, and that's what I said back to him, Stan, was it's confusing to use insider terms for
No, give
people
me
who
a
are not
price.
used to them.
Give me a price of what it's gonna cost me to, for gas. I know I can look at the bills. We looked at them today. We're getting gas at Dead River for $3.57 a gallon. Yeah, $3.57 a gallon is what I saw on the sheets in September. So how does that relate to what they would give us? They're gonna give us the lower rate? They're gonna give us the same rate? They're gonna, the heat and oil, okay, I would hoping we would get a better price than that. I was hoping we'd get at least equal to what the collaborative would be able to give us. So,
Well, what I'll do is I will follow up with Bill tomorrow morning, and instead of getting the tech terms of rack price and this and that, just ask him point blank, if we put this gasoline tank in, what are we going to pay? Based on what today's prices are, knowing that next week could be completely different, but if you're able to compare it to what you see on the sign outside here or what we pay currently, I've got to think it's a better price.
Does the collaborative provide gasoline as well as?
They do, because I talked to Paul Schroeder last week, and their best price is on a 3,000 gallon tank, which Brian and I have talked about this. 3,000 gallons is probably going to be a little ambitious for us, but they do have a scale back down so that you're not paying the best price with a 1,000 gallon tank, but they still do have a similar contract to what we have for the heating oil and diesel.
And I just bought on-road diesel fuel through Roberts last week for $3.85 a gallon, which is the better part of a dollar a gallon less than pump price. So if we get anywhere near that with gas, I think it's a better way to go.
Yep.
And if you do it this way and put in some sort of either code or key or something, then police, fire, and us, one stop, everybody gets their fuel there. It's cheaper, it's easier.
Yeah, I agree
We have
with
a
that.
generator now, so it's not an issue with any sort of emergency, and we have our own self-sustained stuff.
what does the $18,000 for the 1,000 gallon tank include?
And why is there such a huge cost difference between gasoline and diesel on the tanks?
Because of the way they're constructed. The fire guard versus just a double wall diesel tank. Brian might be able to speak to the fire car. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
flammable versus combustible liquid.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't know the specs for the fire guard stuff, but the fire guard's designed for gasoline.
Okay.
And for that, the
It just
diesel
seems,
tank.
it's almost double.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but what does it include? Does it include the full installation? Does it include everything?
So when he was here, he mentioned that these tanks are essentially, not really, but they're essentially drop shipped. So we create a place for them, they ship them ready to go, and all we have to do is have an electrician just tie them in. So we have to have a pad for them to sit on, we have to have bollards for vehicle protection, and they should be ready to go when they get here for use.
There's got to be some programmer to identify you as the user versus.
So, right, so that would be what we'd have to decide, whether you want like a swipe card, a key, a code,
And
something there.
one of Bill's other emails and phone calls this afternoon, it was a busy afternoon with him. He sent me a YouTube link because there's some new state-of-the-art system which I have not looked at the YouTube video yet, so I can't even comment on it. But this was one of the critical components to doing something like this, because if we've got highway, police, fire, with several people in each department using these tanks, we have to be able to monitor what is going through there.
Absolutely.
Okay, now that's fine, but what we're trying to get to here is, we know all this stuff. We don't know what the cost is.
Right, I think there's more, this just came out today, Stan, at 2:15, so nobody's had time to cipher through it yet. I mean, they did what you asked, they met with Sandry, they talked to the gentleman. They need to obviously reach back out and get the rest of the information. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
This is a salesman to the place you wanted to go. So we're giving that a shot. And if we have an opportunity to save this town some money by doing it jointly, we certainly should entertain that.
But that doesn't give us the information.
You
I know,
mentioned-
that's
you
why,
mentioned
this came
YouTube.
out 4 hours ago. We gotta get the information, we gotta ask them.
You mentioned YouTube. There's going to be some kind of security cameras looking over somebody's shoulders so that.
So the current cameras from the police station, one of them does point at my fuel tank.
Perfect. Good.
And
Okay.
if need be, you could always add another one to their system.
Right. It probably should get factored into the cost of the whole project. But
Yeah, that's a great point.
I just,
Because right now I shut my fuel pumps off by a power switch inside my garage.
Yep.
When we're not using it. So that's our fail safe now.
yep.
But at that point, yes. But monitoring is a big part of that. So,
On snow days when you're operating at 2 a.m, your trucks, your switch is on.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I monitor what my trucks use now anyways, but I'm not gonna be able to monitor other departments.
Yeah. That's not fair
I
to you.
keep track of, what we use during snowstorms and stuff like that, just for my own knowledge.
So more to come on this.
Yes.
More to come.
Analysis, that kind of stuff.
But we do have
Recommendation.
the ability to just buy a tank from them too.
Right.
We don't have to do the
Supply versus,
Because looking into tanks from other suppliers, they are significantly lower than some of the other ones. I've
they,
looked into.
Sandry is lower.
Yes,
And they're local.
correct. So
That's a
whether we
win-win.
fill with their product or not doesn't
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a year-over-year decision every time.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So
Guess we're good with you, thank you.
nothing else on your list?
No,
That was plenty.
we have other stuff, but not for you.
All right.
Thank you.
You need this back?
You can have that one if you want. Brian.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Next up, under other business, election warrant. We've been given the election warrant for the November election to vote and approve and sign were indicated tonight. So I'm not gonna read the entire thing, but I'll read a piece of it. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, William Francis Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth, warrant for 2022 state election. The constables of the town of Bernardston, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth, you're hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said city or town who are qualified to vote in the election to vote at the Bernardston Town Hall, 38 Church Street, Bernardston, Mass. On Tuesday, the 8th day of November 2022 from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the following purposes: to cast their votes in the state election for the following candidates: Governor and Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, Secretary of State, Treasurer, Auditor, Representative in Congress, Counselor, Senator in General Court, Representative in General Court, District Attorney, Sheriff, Council of Governments, Executive Committee, and there's 7. Did I count those right? 7 Regional School Committee seats open for the Pioneer Valley Regional School District. And then there is also, and I'm not going to read them all, a question 1, which is a proposed amendment to the Constitution. Question 2, there's a law proposed by initiative petition. Question 3, well, I guess I better give you more information on question 2. Do you approve of a law summarized below? Direct the Commissioner of Massachusetts Division of Insurance to approve or disapprove the rates of dental benefit plans and will require that a dental insurance carrier meet an annual aggregate medical loss ratio. So in general, it's about insurance for question 2. I'm going to generalize these because it's a long document. Question 3, the summary is a proposed law to increase the statewide limits on the combined number of licenses for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption, including licenses for all alcoholic beverages and for wines and malt beverages that any one retailer could own or control, from 9 licenses to 12 licenses in 2023, to 15 licenses in 2027, and to 18 licenses in 2031. And question 4, referendum on an existing law. Law allows Massachusetts residents who cannot provide proof of lawful presence in the United States to obtain a standard driver's license or learner's permit if they meet all the other qualifications for standard license or learner's permit, including a road test and insurance, and provide proof of their identity, date of birth, and residency. So those are the 4 questions that are going to be on the ballot. And the follow-up on it is, you're hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting up certified attested copies thereof at least 7 days before the time of holding said meeting at the 5 places within the town listed below: Bernardston Town Hall, 38 Church Street; Bernardston Post Office, 9 Center Street; Country Corner Store, 44 Church Street; 7 South Street Bakery, 7 South Street; and the Bernardston Senior Center, 20 Church Street. Hereof fail not, make due return of this notice with your doing thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of said meeting aforesaid. Given under our hands this 5th day of October in the year 2022. Anybody want to make a motion to accept this warrant as provided by the state of Massachusetts? Or the Commonwealth, I should say, not state.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yes, if the people viewing this would want further clarification on those questions, the red book that the Secretary of State puts out gives the entire verbiage in detail, and the Cliff Notes version, if you will, what you're actually voting on.
That's an
So I would
excellent
encourage
point.
them to move to that document instead of this one.
Correct. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And next up, we have a BES usage request. We have a request from Melissa Peliquin, who's a member of the Bernardston Elementary School PTO. They're looking to be able to use the library for a monthly PTO meeting in person at the school. Just a note for everybody here, this one came to us not signed by the principal yet. Currently, we normally get them already approved by the principal. I have to imagine she's going to approve it. But does somebody want to make a motion to allow the Bernardston Elementary PTO to meet in the BES library monthly?
I'll make a motion to allow the BES PTO to meet in the library at Bernardston Elementary School monthly upon the approval of the principal.
Second.
Any other discussion?
In light of COVID and the like,
They
there's
do, it does say they do offer an option for
Zoom?
Zoom,
Okay, good.
but they're trying to meet in person because they feel they have a better meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Recreation Commission Craft Fair. Jen Stennis would just like to inform us that there's, and look for preliminary approval for the Rec Commission to hold a craft fair in the gym at BES on Saturday, December 10th. I think my initial thing is she should fill out a use form so the principal of the school knows it's gonna go on if she approves it. Other than that, I don't have an issue with them doing it. You
No.
gentlemen have any?
It's all good.
So I guess we could pass along to Jen. We'd be good, but.
Yeah, she came into the office just as I was putting the agenda together and had voiced that concern that she would like to do that. And I said, well, I'd mention it to the board, knowing that she is at the school every day now. So I said that you really have to
Yeah,
use the
right.
building use app.
That's true. Okay, last on our list here is winterization of PI Museum. Lou Atherton called the office and asked that PI Museum get its usual winterization. She said the museum will be open through Scarecrow in the park and can be winterized after the completion of Scarecrow weekend. That's something that Bob Raymond and I have done for a number of years, and I'm happy to do it again afterwards. And if you guys are all right with it, I'll
Pick a
take care
day
of
and
it.
I'll go with you.
Okay, we typically.
It
try
has
do
to
it
be
on-
after the
After the park, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and she had mentioned Bob's name on the phone, and I
Yep.
said that I'll communicate with him, and so it's good that we kind of keep that
Yeah, and
momentum going.
if you do talk to Bob and he wants to continue to be involved with it, that's great too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Town coordinator report.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Had to move things around a little bit. We've been all over the place tonight. I'd like to start something that seems we have to discuss every single time, board vacancies. We've got a Board of Health meeting tomorrow. We're one member short on the Board of Health. Finance Committee, still one member short. Board of Assessors, one member short. Recreation Commission, one member short, about to be two. So people watching at home, please, it doesn't take a lot of time to help out serving your town. We'd love to have you. The Select Board guys would be equally happy to see your participation. Did I mention, it doesn't take a lot of time. A lot of these boards and committees meet monthly, maybe an hour here or there, and some conversation in between. So please consider it, and that's Board of Health, Finance Committee, Board of Assessors, and Recreation Commission. Any of the elected positions would only be until the next town election, which is going to be in May. So try it out, get your feet wet, and maybe we'll see you on the next ballot. After the board voted to engage Mead, Tallerman, and Costa last time to represent us in the Public Safety Intermunicipal Agreement with Leiden, Liz Leiden, that's confusing, contacted the office and said she'd like to arrange a Zoom meeting to discuss some of the details of that potential agreement. So Stan, I know that you've been coming to the Public Safety Task Force meetings. Would you like to be included on a Zoom call with the lawyer?
Why doesn't she just Zoom in tomorrow and listen to what's going on? And
I offered her that, but when I sent in the agreement with the firm, she said that she'd like to talk with us. And again, as Mike Edwards said at the last meeting, and it's been very clear that because Donna is the town council in both towns, that she's got to be hands off here. So each of us has to get our own representation for this. So, if it's a Zoom for something like that, you could be home or on the golf course, wherever you want to be.
okay. All we're doing is we're just going to be asking them just to look over the agreement.
Yeah, to me, it
It's
doesn't.
as simple as that.
It doesn't sound like it's anything complicated, but so we'll move forward on that.
Okay. Sounds good.
One of the points that I wanted to talk about, we already talked about with the structural engineer. So I'm going to jump into something that just came into the mailbox while we were talking earlier. Jan Amin, I don't know if she's watching tonight. If you are, hi Jan. She had forwarded to me a resignation of our representative for the Solid Waste District. Justin Lawrence has resigned from his position. Jan included his email. Justin was very complimentary for the things that Jan has done for the district, but because he is very occupied with graduate school, he's too engrossed in his studies to be able to allocate the time to effectively serve. So lo and behold, Jan just sent me at 6:57 any thoughts on a new rep for our board. So we can add that to the ever-growing list of vacancies now. I know Justin is also involved with the library board of trustees, board of directors. So I know he's wearing many hats these days. So just for now, food for thought. Like I said, it just came in 20 minutes ago. So yet one more vacancy in town. And Mr. Chairman, I know you asked Mr. Minor earlier if he had any revenue generating. So I'm going to close with an email that I got from Taylor Millspaw, who will be here at the October 19th meeting from CMRK. Taylor sent me the Q3 wrap-up this morning, and she tells me that in the 2 blue bins over at the transfer station, they've collected in just Q3 3,124 pounds of clothing, and will be sending the town a check in the amount of $218.68.
Ka-ching.
So that seems to be working well. I'm pleased with CMRK, and as I said, we'll see Taylor here next time. So that wraps up the town coordinator's report. Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Stan, do you have anything else you want to bring up tonight?
No, I'm all set.
Ken?
Just one thing, today at the senior center, they did the vaccination clinic. It was a phenomenal success. They had 105 people come in for their COVID booster shots, and then the multiple people, 73 people came in for their flu shots. So it was a parking nightmare. It was well orchestrated, run by the senior center staff. Served the community. If you figure 105 citizens, and most of them were from Bernardston, although you could come from other towns, but just a phenomenal service to the town for that, and it's free because it's covered by your insurance.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else to bring up?
No, all good. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.